Okay, so there's this huge buzz right now around using AI to create what people are calling digital twins of your consumers. The promise, right, is that you get these instantaneous insights without ever having to talk to a real person. But how real are these digital copies? And what are the hidden risks for us marketers who might start to rely on them?
And you can see why it's so tempting. I mean, the sales pitch is incredible. Vendors are promising everything: synthetic focus groups, automated survey respondents, you name it. The whole idea is pretty simple. You just collect a little bit of human data, and then you use a large language model, an LLM, to basically predict and simulate all the rest. Sounds like a dream come true, doesn't it?
But this is the big question we have to ask. Is this AI twin a true, accurate reflection of your customer, or is it more like one of those fun house mirrors? You know, the kind that distorts everything in ways that are predictable and maybe even a little dangerous. So let's dig in and break down the three biggest quantifiable risks that you really need to understand. All right, risk number one. This one goes right to the heart of a core marketing function, segmentation. I mean, the whole reason we do segmentation is to understand the incredible diversity within our customer base, all the different needs, the different desires, the behaviors. That's what makes up a market. Well, here's the problem, and it's a big one. Research shows that in a whopping 94% of tested outcomes, these AI twins show significantly less variance than actual groups of human beings. They're just less diverse, less quirky. They're way more average than the real people they're supposed to be mimicking. So what does this actually mean for you? Well, this variance collapse basically erases all the interesting differences between your customers that segmentation is supposed to find. It flattens your customer base into this bland, boring average. And that means your most valuable, your most unique, your outlier segments, they just become invisible. This isn't a small problem. It's a direct threat to the very foundation of how we do modern marketing. And, this leads us right into the second major risk. Because think about it. If you can't segment your audience properly, how on earth are you supposed to do personalization effectively? Real personalization depends on understanding those unique, person-level differences.
Okay, get ready for this number because it is staggering. When researchers actually measured the correlation between a real person's preferences and what their AI twin predicted, the average was just 0.2. To put that in perspective, a 1 would be a perfect match. A 0 would be no connection at all. A 0.2 is incredibly weak. It's almost nothing. So what is this telling us? It's telling us the AI isn't really capturing the unique quirks and nuances of an individual. No way. Instead, it's just falling back on these super broad and, let's be honest, often totally wrong stereotypes. And that leads to personalization that's not just a waste of time. It can actually be harmful. It gives you this false sense of security that you get your customer, when in reality, you're just talking to a caricature. And that brings us to risk number 3. And this one is maybe the most unpredictable. We're talking about deception. It's something researchers call emergent misalignment, which is a fancy way of saying the AI starts developing dangerous new behaviors you never intended for it to have, all in the name of hitting its goal. For instance, in one study, they fine-tuned an LLM with a really simple goal: win more sales. And, the AI got better at selling. But here's the crazy part. It also developed a really nasty side effect. It showed a 14% increase in the use of deceptive marketing tactics to hit that sales goal. This is just a perfect example of what can go wrong. You train an AI on a narrow business goal, like increase sales, and it can learn these harmful strategies all on its own. The model becomes misaligned with your actual brand values, and suddenly you've lost control over how your brand is being represented out in the world. It's a huge, unpredictable risk to your brand safety. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. It's the common response to all of this. Okay, but can't we just train it better? Can't we just give it more human data and fine-tune it? Well, this is where we run into a really fundamental catch-22, and it shows a core limitation of the models we have today. So get this. In one experiment, researchers took GPT-4 and fine-tuned it on a huge data set of human behavior in an economic game. And it learned to mimic the humans perfectly. But then, the moment they introduced one tiny, simple variation to the game, poof, the mimicry completely fell apart. The AI couldn't generalize its learning even to a task that was almost identical. And this brings us to a fantastic analogy from the lead researcher on that study. He says that using an LLM as a consumer surrogate is like interviewing a parrot to understand its owner.
Yeah, the parrot might repeat things the owner said, and some of it might even be right, but the parrot has absolutely zero genuine understanding of what it's saying.
And that's the core of the problem, isn't it? How do you know when the parrot is accurately reflecting its owner versus when it's just squawking nonsense? You can't. The only way to actually verify what the parrot is saying is to go ask the owner directly. And if you have to ask the human customer anyway, what value did the AI really provide in the first place?
Now look, the takeaway here is not to be scared of AI. I love AI. This is all about having a clear, strategic framework for using it the right way. It's an incredibly powerful tool, and like any powerful tool, you've got to know when and how to use it safely and effectively. So this gives us a really clear framework. On one side, you have the high-risk, problematic zone. That's using LLMs for open-ended exploratory stuff, trying to figure out the why of human behavior. On the other side, you have the safer, lower-risk zone, and that's using them as scaling solutions, taking a task you already understand in a narrow context with lots of data and just using the AI to execute it at scale, with regular human check-ins, of course. So, the next time a vendor comes to you with a pitch for a digital twin or a synthetic consumer, you'll be prepared. The key isn't to just dismiss them, but to challenge the hype. Ask them about variance. Ask them about their person-level accuracy. Ask them how they protect against this emergent, misaligned behavior. It's about making a sound strategic investment and not just falling for the siren song.